You wake up, look in the mirror, and see a woman who still has fire in her eyes, curiosity, mischief, hunger for life. But by the time you finish brushing your hair and walk past that same mirror on your way out the door, a different woman stares back. Older, tired, defeated by something that should be her crowning glory. That gap between the vibrant, wise, unstoppable you and the faded reflection your hair creates is not your age. It is not your bone structure. It is not gravity winning. It is a hairstyle that has been lying to you for years. And you are not alone. Millions of women over 60 are walking around with the very cuts that quietly, cruelly, day after day, add a decade to their faces. Not because those cuts were once fashionable. Not because your hair has thinned or grayed. But because the shape, weight, and line of a wrong hair stroke works like a bad color palette, clashing with the natural light of your face instead of harmonizing with it. I researched the worst style and beauty mistakes, and their instant, youth-boosting fixes, specifically for mature women. No fluff. No just be confident platitudes. Just simple, proven transformations that take 10 years off a face before you even change your lipstick. Today, we are uncovering 7 hairstyles women over 60 should never wear, and 9 out of 10 women are still wearing at least one of them right now. I see it every single day. A woman walks through my consultation door, beautiful bone structure, bright eyes, good skin for her age, and then I look at her hair. And I think, oh honey, no one told you. That first mistake? It is so common, so invisible, that most stylists don't even flag it. By the time we get to part 4, you will understand why one of the most requested cuts at every salon in America, the one your best friend just got, is quietly adding years to your face with every single strand. It's not the cut you think. It's worse. Because it feels safe. Familiar. Low maintenance. But low maintenance has a hidden cost, and that cost is your jawline. Part 7 will make you want to call your stylist before this video is even finished. I'm not exaggerating. When you see the side-by-side of what that one style does to a woman's neck and eyes, you will feel actual anger. Not at yourself, but at every stylist who nodded and said, "That looks great," when it absolutely did not. And the very first mistake, the one I see on 9 out of 10 women the moment they walk through the door, it takes less than 60 seconds to fix. No cut required. No new products. Just a single shift in where your hair falls relative to your cheekbone. You have worn your hair a certain way for years, maybe decades, and it feels like you. I understand that. Deeply. That familiar shape has become part of your identity, your morning rhythm, your sense of safe beauty. But here is the truth nobody says out loud. Some of those familiar styles are the very reason you look older than you feel. Not because of your age. Because of your hair. We are going to change that right now. Let's go. 1. The super short cropped bob. Have you ever left the salon feeling like something went wrong, but you could not quite name it? You asked for something polished. Something easy. And what came back felt heavier, somehow. Older. That is the super short cropped bob at work. And it is the #1 hairstyle quietly aging women over 60 right now. Here is what nobody tells you at the appointment. When hair is cut severely short and blunt around the jaw, it does not frame the face, it frames the jaw. And for most mature women, the jaw is exactly where the signs of aging live. It pulls the eye straight down, shortens the neck, and makes the lower face look heavier. That is the opposite of what you were hoping for. You needed to hear this. The mistake is not wanting short hair. Short hair can be absolutely stunning on women over 60. The mistake is the shape. A blunt, helmet-like bob with no movement sits heavy on the face like a curtain that has been pulled too tight. It kills the natural lightness your bone structure still has. And your bone structure is genuinely beautiful. Here is what to swap. If you are still wearing the severe cropped bob, swap it for a soft layered bob that falls just below the ear with gentle movement at the ends. The layers lift the visual weight away from the jaw, and let the face read as open and elevated. Your stylist can transition you with just 2 appointments. Ask specifically for a disconnected layer through the midsection, and a slight textured fringe or soft curtain bang to draw attention upward toward your eyes. Honestly, this is the swap that makes women stop me and ask what changed, without even realizing it was the hair. That layer of movement is doing something almost invisible. It is creating the illusion of lift. And lift is everything at 60. Now the next mistake is one most women consider a safe choice, a classic. But safe can still be aging you. And part 2 is going to show you exactly why. 2. The rounded mushroom cut. Picture this. You walk into the salon asking for something low maintenance, easy to style and neat. You walk out with volume on top, close crop sides, and a shape that sits perfectly round on every angle. It seemed right. And now 3 weeks later, something still feels off. That is the rounded mushroom cut. And it is aging you in a way you cannot unsee once you know it. The problem with this cut is geometry. The mushroom shape widens at the crown and contracts at the sides, creating a visual oval that sits on top of the head like a lid. For women over 60, where the face naturally softens at the cheekbones and jaw, this added roundness doubles the visual width. The eye reads the whole head as heavy, wide, and closed in. This one is everything. The shape of your hair changes the shape of your face. The reason this cut became so common is that it genuinely works beautifully in your 30s and 40s. It was not a mistake when you started wearing it. But the facial structure shifts that come with age, the slight softening of the jawline, the gentle broadening of the midface, mean this cut no longer serves you the way it once did. Here is what to swap. Instead of the rounded mushroom shape, ask your stylist for a tapered pixie with a longer top section swept to one side. This creates diagonal movement that lengthens the face visually and draws the eye upward. The asymmetry breaks the roundness completely. If you are not ready for something that short, a feathered lob with soft layers through the crown, not volume on top, gives the same elongating effect with more coverage. This is the one that made a friend of mine stop mid-conversation and ask what changed. She had been wearing the mushroom cut for 6 years and had no idea. One asymmetric line is all it takes. It redirects the entire story your face is telling. Now, part 3 is the mistake that shocks most women the hardest. Because they did not choose it. Their hair chose it for them. And it has been aging them for years. 3. The flat, lifeless blowout. You style it the same way you always have. You blow it out, smooth it down, and it sits perfectly flat. Not bad exactly. But something is missing and you cannot name it. What is missing is dimension. And dimension is youth. The flat, lifeless blowout, perfectly smooth, no movement, no variation in texture, is one of the most common aging mistakes women over 60 make. Not because blowouts are wrong, because flat is. Here is the truth that changes everything. Hair naturally loses density and movement after 60. That is not your fault, it is biology. But when you take already fine, already softened hair, and press every last bit of life out of it with heat tools, you amplify exactly what you were trying to hide. Flat hair emphasizes the scalp. It makes the hair look thinner than it is. And thin, flat hair reads as aged on camera and in every room you walk into. The real mistake is not how you dry it. It is that you are drying it into submission. Here is what to swap. Instead of blow drying straight down until every strand lies flat, diffuse the root and let the mid-lengths dry with slight movement. A soft Velcro roller on the crown for 10 minutes after drying adds volume that no product can replicate. Ask your stylist for a light texturizing cut. Not razored, but point cut, that builds natural movement back into the ends. If you are still finishing with a flat iron from root to tip, swap it for a large barrel curling wand through just the mid-lengths and ends. Never curl the roots. That one change alone gives the hair the soft bend that photographs 10 years younger. Yes, that's simple. This is the swap I wish someone had whispered to me years ago. The tools you are using are not wrong. The direction you are using them in is. Texture, movement, and a little root lift. Those 3 things together change how the entire frame of your face reads. Wait until you see part 4. Because the next mistake is the one women consider their signature look. And it is the one working the hardest against them. For the too dark, too flat all over color. This is the one. If there is a single color mistake that ages women over 60 more than any other, this is it. And 9 out of 10 women sitting in that salon chair are making it every single appointment. All over dark, flat, single process color. Applied from root to tip. No variación. No light. No dimensión. It feels right because it matches the hair color you remember. The color from your 30s or 40s, rich, deep, full. And on a younger face, that depth worked beautifully. But your face is not the same face it was at 40. And the color that flattered you then is now working directly against the changes that have happened since. Here is the key insight. The older the face, the more it needs light around it to look refreshed. Flat dark color pulls light away from the skin. It creates a harsh contrast against mature skin tones, making fine lines more visible, deepening the shadows under the eyes, and making the complexion look tired rather than vibrant. This one thing is doing more damage than you realize. The reason women keep going back to the flat dark color is sentimental. It connects them to a version of themselves they loved. That is understandable. But that version of you existed in a different light, with different skin, and different facial volume. The color needs to evolve with you. Here is what to swap. Instead of all over dark color, ask your colorist for soft face framing highlights or baby lights. Lighter pieces placed specifically around the hairline and crown where light naturally falls. You do not have to go blonde. 2 shades lighter than your base color through the front section alone is enough to completely change how your face reads. If you love depth, keep it through the mid-lengths and ends while lifting the pieces closest to your face. This technique, called a money piece, is the one thing that takes your colorist 4 minutes to do and changes how every photograph of you looks. This is the kind of thing a trusted friend in the industry would never let you leave the salon without knowing. Dimension is not about going lighter. It is about placing light where your face needs it most. Part 5 is coming. And it covers the length mistake that women wear for decades without realizing it has been shortening their neck and closing in their face the entire time. 5. The neck length curtain of hair. You have been growing it out. Or maybe you have kept it exactly this length for years, just brushing the back of the neck, falling straight down past the shoulders with no real shape. It feels safe. Modest. Not too short, not too long. But that length and that flatness is quietly doing something to your face you have not been told yet. The neck length curtain of hair, straight, unshaped, falling like a panel from the crown, closes in the face by boxing the jawline inside 2 vertical lines. For women over 60, where the jawline has naturally softened, those 2 straight curtains of hair visually replicate the jaw's softest outline and make it appear wider and lower than it is. You've been wearing it as coverage, but it is actually highlighting exactly what you were trying to soften. Here is the specific truth. Straight, unshaped length with no layering and no internal movement creates what stylists call the parenthesis effect. The face gets bracketed on both sides with heavy vertical lines, and the eye reads the space between them as compressed. Your face looks shorter. Your neck looks shorter. And the whole composition feels heavy rather than elegant. This is the one mistake I see on women who would genuinely be shocked by how much a single change could refresh the entire picture. Here is what to swap. If your hair falls in a straight panel at neck length or just below, ask your stylist for soft long layers that begin above the collarbone and graduate through the ends. This breaks the parenthesis effect immediately. Layers that move and fall away from the face, rather than straight down past it. Open the frame instead of closing it. If you prefer length, a slight tuck behind the ear on one side creates the asymmetry that tricks the eye into reading the face as longer, and the neck is more defined. A barely there wave through the last 4 inches of the hair does the rest. Honestly, this one swap is what made a woman in my comments section say she looked like herself again for the first time in years. That is not about the length. That is about the shape of the length. Part 6 is a style choice women describe as practical, comfortable, and easy. And it is one of the most aging things you can do to your hair every single morning. You will want to know this one. 6. The tight slicked back bun. This one feels like a solution. When you are running late, when the hair is not cooperating, when you just want it out of your face, the tight slicked back bun is the answer. Pulled smooth, secured flat, clean and finished. But this is the style that ages more women over 60 faster than almost anything else in this list. Here is why it works against you specifically at this stage of life. When hair is pulled tight and slicked flat against the scalp, every line on the face becomes the entire story. There is nothing to soften the transition from hairline to brow, nothing to break the hard edge from ear to jaw, nothing to create the visual warmth that flatters mature skin. The tight bun removes all the softness your hairstyle could be giving you, and hands the spotlight directly to the signs of aging you were hoping to minimize. It pulls. and not in the way that helps. The reason this style became so habitual is that it genuinely worked in your 20s and 30s. With younger, fuller facial volume, a sleek bun read as polished and elegant. But facial volume decreases naturally with age. The structure that once made a tight bun look architectural now makes it look stark. Here is what to swap. If the bun is your daily go-to, you do not have to give it up completely. You just have to loosen it and soften it. Ask your stylist to show you how to build a low, loose chignon at the nape of the neck instead. Pull 2 soft pieces out at the front, just half an inch on each side, to frame the face. Let the bun itself sit slightly undone rather than smooth and sealed. That 2-inch difference in placement from crown to nape, combined with a little face framing softness, changes the entire reading of your face from severe to refined. This is the kind of thing a good friend would tell you before you walked out the door. And the maintenance for this is nothing. It takes the same amount of time. You are just placing it differently and giving it permission to breathe. Part 7 is the final mistake, and it is the one that has the most emotional weight attached to it. Because this style carries history, and that is exactly why it is the hardest one to let go of. 7. The kept exactly the same style. This is the most personal mistake on this list. Not because it is the most dramatic, but because it is the most invisible. You have been wearing your hair the same way for so long that it stopped being a choice. It just became you. That is the most quietly aging thing a woman over 60 can do. Not any single cut or color, but the act of freezing her style in time while her face continues to change around it. Here is the truth that sits gently but lands hard. Your face at 60 is genuinely different from your face at 40. The bone structure beneath your skin has changed slightly. The distribution of light and shadow has shifted. The way hair drapes and falls has changed because the skin beneath it has changed. A style that was perfectly calibrated for the face you had 2 decades ago is now calibrated for a face that no longer exists. And the mismatch reads as age even when the style itself is not inherently aging. You needed to hear this. And I mean that with complete warmth. This is not about abandoning who you are. This is the opposite of that. The women who look the most like themselves, radiant, composed, genuinely at ease, are the ones who updated their style gradually to meet their face as it is right now. They did not chase youth. They chased alignment. Here is what to swap. You do not need to reinvent yourself. You need one conversation with a stylist who understands mature hair. Not a general appointment, but a consultation specifically about how your face has changed and how your current style is, or is not serving those changes. Bring 2 photographs. One from when you first started wearing this style. One recent. Ask your stylist to look at both and tell you what she sees. The gap between those 2 images is exactly where your refresh lives. One session. One honest conversation. That is all it takes to start wearing a style that belongs to the version of you that exists right now. Not the version you were preserving. Your natural elegance has never left. It is just waiting for a style that sees it. You just learned the 7 hairstyles that are quietly aging women over 60. And most women spend years wearing every single one without ever being told the truth. That ends today. Your bone structure is genuinely stunning. Your natural elegance has always been there. Now your hair is finally going to show it. Tell me in the comments. Which of these 7 mistakes were you making without even knowing it? I read every single one and I want to know. Next time, we are covering the one clothing mistake that adds 10 years instantly. And it is hiding in almost every wardrobe right now. Like this video, subscribe to Timeless Wisdom Path, and I will see you in the next one.